Only member seeing the invite to that, so.
All right, we will call our meeting to order and I'd like to welcome everyone to our regular council meeting for May 26, 2025. So we'll call the meeting to order and a reminder to disclose any pecuniary interest. Yes.
I will declare an interest in regarding the delegation 5B, the Tobermory All Seasons Market, as I am a regular vendor in another market, the Tobermory Chamber Market, and an occasional vendor in this market.
Okay. So I have one to disclose as well. It's the item A on the agenda, Crane Lake Road proposal. My wife is a part owner in property beyond the proposed gate, so I will be leaving the chambers for that discussion. And Todd was the first one here, so he's the one that has to take over. It's our deputy mayor today, actually. He's not here today. He's off on other business. So with that, we will go to the agenda. Todd and Smokey. Discussion on the agenda. Nothing to add, Alex? Okay. Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Minutes of 12th. We're in a second here for the minutes. Amon and Todd. Any questions on the minutes? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Public meeting. We don't have a public meeting today. Delegations. Stephen Barchowski. Yeah. And Lisa Gerard. Welcome. And this is with regards to withdrawal of a short-term accommodation license at 277 Eagle Road.
That's right. Hi, my name is Lisa Gerard, and I'm here today to discuss the STA at 277 Eagle Road. As neighbors to this property, we've been having some bylaw issues with it, specifically last August and September. My neighbor Stefan had a meeting last December with the mayor to discuss our issues and the lack of response. And the mayor has invited us to attend a council meeting to discuss these issues. Now, part of my job before I retired required me to be trained as an occupational health and safety incident inspector. And I was trained to document, which I have done so. So you will see a theme here. My husband and I have owned our property in Tobermory here for 33 years. We are in a small part of Eagle Harbor, a little bay. There's about 5 houses. It's almost like a pond that back onto each other, and we see everybody's waterfront, and sound travels very easily there. In June, we retired in 2019 to spend our summers in Tobermory, and our property is 2 lots west of 277 Eagle Road. In 2020, building started at 277 Eagle Road. In June of 2021, the house was completed, and immediately they started to rent on Airbnb. They rented every month until the STA license was revoked in September 2022. I'm sure you're aware that it was revoked for numerous bylaw violations, including over-occupancy, loud nuisance noise, loud outdoor gatherings and disturbances, music on outdoor speakers, etc. Thankfully, Carol Hopkins and her team of bylaw officers did a great job responding to our complaints, investigating, verifying our complaints, following up with us, and enforcing the bylaw to revoke their STA license in September of 2022. Throughout the summer of 2023, various groups of people occupied this property. We believe there were renters. They were exhibiting rental behavior, but we couldn't prove that they weren't renters. I think everybody that was there was told to say they were family. June 26, 2023, during a complete municipal fire ban, including recreational fires, a group arrived there and started a recreational fire. They had a bag of charcoal, a huge bag of charcoal beside the fire pit, no water, no pails of water anywhere in sight. And I saw the smoke from my deck. I went down to my dock to have a look. The flames were 3.5 feet high, sparks flying everywhere, and the people were running off into the woods to gather more kindling for the fire. I was very alarmed because at many times that fire was completely unattended, and again, with no water in sight to put it out. So I called 911. Somebody eventually showed up and they put the fire out. But that's just an example of the type of renters that we have to deal with there, and the owners who don't care what their renters do. On October 30th in 2023, while I still had no STA license, I caught the owners of 277 Eagle Road advertising their Airbnb for rent with no STA license. They advertised it for rent on October 30th. I sent an email to the licensing department to let them know it was being advertised for rent. I asked if there was an STA license. I was told no, they'd had no STA license. The licensing department said that they would look into it. I went back to check a few weeks later, December 1st, and it's still being advertised for rent. So again, I contacted the licensing department and they said they were looking into it, working on it. Now, in section 3.15 of the bylaw, it says no person shall advertise a short-term rental accommodation without a valid short-term accommodation license. Section 8.4 says where a license has been revoked, suspended, or canceled, the licensee shall cease to rent or advertise the dwelling from the date of cancellation until a new license is issued. So I found fines of $900, 3 fines of $900 for failing to register a short-term rental, advertising an unregistered short-term rental, and advertising a short-term rental without a registration number. So my question to you, that's $2,700 for advertising for rent. Is that a day or is that just a one-time fee?
I think it can be a day, but it can be a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. You've got $2,700 per day. 32 days, I saw it being advertised for rent. That's over $86,000. To me, that's a missed opportunity for revenue generation for the municipality that could have been put towards the municipality, bylaw office, more bylaw officers to watch over these STAs. It's just a shame that wasn't taken advantage of. A one-time fine of $900 is nothing to one of these Airbnbs who rent for over $600 a night. It's just the cost of doing business. That doesn't deter them from doing anything. In June 4th, 2024, I caught them again advertising for rent with no STA license. And again, I notified the licensing department. These people are repeat offenders. July 25th, we discovered that they had applied for and obtained a new STA license. They had a posted maximum occupancy of 6 over the age of 13. On August 25th, 3 cars pull into their driveway, 10 people get out. At the waterfront, we have the usual yelling, shouting, taking pictures. 3 teenagers get into kayaks with no life jackets. They're shouting, chasing baby ducks, trying to hit them with their paddles. Maximum occupancy here has been exceeded with 10 people. One of the adults paddles by our dock. My husband and I are sitting out on our dock watching this. My husband tells him that the maximum occupancy is 6. He said he knows, but the other 2 families have cottages where they're staying overnight, so they will all be staying there overnight. He does say, however, that they haven't seen each other in a while and they're planning on having a party that night to get together, have some drinks, get caught up. And my husband said, "You're not allowed to have parties here either." And he said, "Yeah, we know, but we're doing it anyway." Schedule E, under functions and parties, so short-term accommodation renters are not to host functions or parties as occupancy limits apply to the house and property in accordance with the license. Number 2, renters are not to disturb the neighbors or interfere with their enjoyment of their properties at any time of the day or night. And Schedule C says the licensee shall be responsible for ensuring that the use of short-term accommodation shall not include parties exceeding occupancy limits in the unit or on the property, and the use of outdoor speakers. So I called the STA hotline. Stefan called the STA hotline. I emailed the bylaw office. At that time, I didn't realize that Carol Hopkins was on leave. She wasn't there. Stefan also followed up with emails. We didn't hear anything. There was no follow-up at that time from the bylaw office. Section 9.14 says a municipal officer will follow up with the complainant within 24 hours to determine that the complaint has been addressed. This didn't happen. I called the bylaw office 2 days later, talked to bylaw officer Curtis. He was the one who told me that Carol Hopkins was on leave. He confirmed there were 10 people there on the property and the maximum occupancy was 6. He did mention that 2 of the other families have cottages elsewhere for overnight stay. The bottom line is there were 10 people on the property, they were having a party, and they were having an outdoor gathering involving excessive noise and disturbance. Schedule E states no person shall make noise so as to cause a disturbance or conduct themselves in an antisocial behavior. Examples of noise include outdoor or backyard gatherings involving excessive noise, late or early hour disturbances, yelling, shouting, chanting, and loud conversations. So clearly there were violations here. They should have been acknowledged and registered as bylaw violations. And then I get an email from the licensing department stating that Curtis observed the 10 people there, but he observed no bylaw violations. There's no further explanation. When I asked for clarification why there wasn't a bylaw violation, when clearly the bylaw states no parties and no over occupancy, I received no answer at all from anybody. You know, there is a flaw in the system. When you have a bylaw officer coming to a property, as soon as he pulls into the property, the music's going to go off and the noise is going to stop. And when that bylaw officer leaves, the music goes back on and the noise resumes. So we residents are left having to deal with the situation. Friday, August 30th, a group of 4 cars pull into the STA driveway the weekend after, and a group of men around 30 years old get out of the cars, and then they turn the music on. Loud music is blaring for 3 days straight on outdoor speakers. Want to hear another one? Okay. We had to listen to that. Friday night, Stefan calls the hotline. We don't know if a bylaw officer showed up or not. They went till the rain started around 9 p.m. So they were forced to go in. Again, on Saturday, I don't think a bylaw officer showed up because they started at 2 p.m. on Saturday. The same music, the same loud noise and partying. And then Stefan called on Saturday and then they started up again on Sunday, the same thing. Stefan even mentioned that the dispatch officer had said, hasn't anybody come there yet? We don't know. We got no feedback. The music continued until that particular group of renters left on Monday. We sent emails, both of us, to the bylaw office and the licensing department, and we received no follow-up from anybody at all. We were just forced to endure this noise for 3 days straight. On September 14th, a couple renting the Airbnb carried a wrought iron table and chair from the Airbnb to the neighboring property on the west side of the Airbnb. They placed this Airbnb patio furniture on a platform the property owner had built beside the creek that runs through his property. So they're not only trespassing, they're breaking.
Yeah, it appears as though you've exceeded 15 minutes. I'm not sure, but so yeah, you have 15 minutes, actually. Yes, but you're kind of closely approaching that, so
Okay.
you can continue, yeah.
Thank you so much.
The back, we're done.
The battery's okay. I'm sorry about that. So we have this trespassing couple moving Airbnb furniture over. And on September 18th, this is my last incident, the garbage bin at 277 Eagle Road is tipped over, we think by a bear, with garbage spread all over the edge of the road and the ditch. It stayed like that for 4 days before anybody cleaned it up. They're permanent cans. They're 24/7, one of those big green bear cans, 365 days a year. That's not permanently fixed. I understand from the waste bylaw that it's supposed to be on a concrete pad chained so that it doesn't get tipped over. It's not. It's just sitting on loose gravel. So we have regular bears that walk along the road and it's easily tipped over. So I believe that's another bylaw violation. And this garbage attracted a pack of coyotes for 3 nights. So now it's a safety issue as well as an environmental issue for the residents. So in summary, there were 4 parties in 7 days, trespassing renters moving lawn furniture to a neighbor's property, and the garbage violations. That it's not permanently affixed, and the garbage was spread all over the road for 4 days. There was 7 bylaw violations from August 25th to September 21st. In the bylaw, section 9.18, once a property receives 3 registered complaints with a single year, or where a registered complaint is not resolved in a manner satisfactory to the municipality, the license shall be immediately revoked. Now, you currently have 338 licensed STAs. You tell us that you don't know what's going on there unless we tell you. We are doing what you tell us to do. We're calling the hotline. We're sending emails. We're making phone calls. We are doing our part. And in Carol's absence, the bylaw officer doesn't even register the party that he was witness to as a violation. And we don't know if he even showed up during those 3 days of music. All they're asking is that you do your part and enforce the bylaw. The owner of 277 Eagle Road is a repeat offender. They clearly have demonstrated they cannot or do not care to control their renters. They're absent owners who only care about the money they're making, advertising it for rent 365 days a year as a business. They have no consideration or respect for the neighbors. The deputy mayor stated in a previous council meeting last year, STAs must be taken seriously and that bylaw enforcement surrounding rentals must improve. Well, here's your chance. This STA has enough violations and enough complaints to revoke the STA license immediately. And I suggest permanently so we don't have to deal with this particular owner again. This STA has been an assault on our neighborhood. We're just asking you to please do what you can to give us back our peaceful, serene, and safe neighborhood that we have cherished for the last 7 years before the Airbnb started operating their business. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Lisa. And
Do we have another 2 minutes? I
a minute or so, yeah.
1 minute. An image, I think, is always better than words. Last Saturday, I made a point to walk the property line next to this 277, just to see if I could find any garbage. And keep in mind, I cleaned up in October. This is what I found. Volleyball. Liquor ball. Garbage. This is regular. This is my reality. To be fair, I walked the other property line on my opposite neighbor's side. how much garbage I found there. And I can go on and on and on. Just to summarize, a couple of things I just want to say. I think one of the things that need to be acknowledged is this is not a residential rental property. This is a business. It's a hotel. It operates as a hotel. It was purpose built as a hotel, owned by a family, owned 4 or 5 similar properties, are only rented. They don't reside here. They don't care about the neighborhood. And this is why we end up with this kind of issues. I hope in the new amendments to the bylaws, you'll take into account, number one, there should be a residential requirement for anybody with an STA. I think it's fair. Number two, I think there should be more involvement of the neighbors. I wish I had been informed, for example, that the license was being reinstated. I only found out when I saw people showing up again, renting. And number three, there's a whole set of fees and penalties that you have to recoup the cost to the municipality of dealing with all these problems. I strongly suggest you add a new penalty to compensate the neighbors of all these properties that have to deal with these problems. My time is also worth money. And it's cost me money to deal with these individuals and all the problems I have caused. I have plenty of stories I would love to share, but we don't have time. And thank you for the council for listening to us. I know there's a big issue. I know you've been working very hard to learn and improve the bylaws as a result. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, Lisa, you've identified many issues for us to respond to, and we will. We're certainly not going to get into that today, that back and forth issue today, but we will respond to you. And with regards to bylaw, we are trying to improve our bylaw enforcement, and it sounds like we have a ways to go. So I appreciate hearing from you. Council appreciates hearing from you, but we will take any questions that council has with regards to your presentation. So it looks like you're going to have a question here, perhaps. Smokey.
Well, one of the changes, or like I said, we've been on a learning curve. We started with nothing and everybody on opposite sides, and I've tried to meet that middle ground, but there's always like one of our things is we're going to have postings of you have to have a manager of these STAs, and it's to be within half an hour. So and it's going to be posted. Was there a local manager or anything involved in this that you contacted and didn't help either? Because they're supposed to be the intermediary between the owners and problems and neighbors. And I guess what we're trying to do is keep up that issue. So did you try that?
Let me take that one. Number one, I have no idea who owns the property.
Can you please come and sit? Thank you.
Couple points. I don't know who owns the property. I don't have a name. I don't have a phone number. I don't have an address, let alone a manager.
Okay, so that's one of the things we're trying to bring forward is that visibility. And so there is accountability right there that everybody knows. So just so you know that there are things that are changing to help.
And I think it's a great suggestion. I support where you're going with that. But I'll add one point to it. And I go back to what I said about residency. It doesn't matter if there's a manager there, if the people who own the property don't care. Because we're talking about residential zoning. We're not talking about commercial zoning. You have businesses that operate in a residential environment. If you look at the zoning bylaws, every single business that is allowed to operate in a residential zone requires the owner of that business to reside in the premise, except for STAs. So my suggestion would be that visibility is important, but until we have accountability from the people who own, because they're tied to the community, because they care about their neighbors, it doesn't really, at the end, address the issue, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate coming to council and telling us your story. Appreciate it. Thank you. Next delegation. Elza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I require to leave the room or I'm going to be considered a property? Just put yourself away. I think you're lucky day.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's warm welcoming. So we're here to talk about Tobermory All Seasons Market. We presented proposal, we submitted proposal, as well as a PowerPoint presentation for everyone. I'm not sure if it will be on the screen, but I'm sure you had time to look at it as well. Okay, thank you so much. We'll do first introduction on the first slide, introduction and scheme and the history background of what it is about. Idea came last year to some vendors who've been participating in a Tobermory marketplace organized by the chambers, which is currently it's every Wednesday. So we started slow. So the way how idea generated is that some vendors really can participate on the Wednesdays markets, some they cannot because they're working. And usually, you know, people who are making some crafts and homemade products, they do it in a time when they have some spare time and it's their hobbies and passions. And some of them are working full time and they want to come on Saturdays. The idea came is that why don't we have additional market day when we will bring everyone together, as well as the people, the overall community and the visitors mainly coming on Saturdays. So the local community really also busy working. The kids are in the school, so really before school actually finishes and the summer starts, kids cannot come. Parents really busy, cannot bring the kids to the festive activities which we've been trying to organize. So that is the idea which is behind why we decided to proceed with the market. Our motto is, can you please flip the slide so everyone can see? Thank you so much. Our overall motto is live local, shop local, and support local. It's more community-oriented events, not really the place where people will come and just do the shopping, but all our events are around the major Canadian holidays when people can come, celebrate Easter, celebrate Valentine's Day, celebrate the Christmas time, and other festive activities and the holidays. So we so far successfully organized 5 market events. We did one in October for Thanksgiving. We did one in January, Winter Wonderland. We did one in February for Valentine's Day. We did one in March as to say hello to spring. And we did an Easter event. And really, truthfully, like, because we started very slow, we seen the improvement on participation of the local community because people didn't know about it. There was the winter storms, you know, and certain things people been busy, maybe traveling or taking some holidays during winter time. So slowly, gradually, community engaged. We've seen lots of kids' faces during our Easter event. I think it was very nice for both experience for the vendors as well as for the community. So that is where we are. We originally discussed with the Light and Life Chapel to use their indoor place. They provided to us basement. The board of the chapel approved for us to organize these events inside. But as soon as we started publishing on a Facebook early in spring that if the weather will be okay, we'll potentially move, you know, outside, and potentially we've been expecting more vendors to join us based on requests which we've been started receiving. I think somehow the information came from the building department to the chapel, to the Pastor Mike, and Pastor Mike communicated with me saying, unfortunately, we cannot do anything outdoor based on our institutional zoning. We said, okay, we didn't know that, but when in October we requested about, using your premises, everything was okay for indoor, outdoor, but maybe something changed in the rules regulations. So we accepted it. We said, okay, we will do indoor, continuously moving forward. But in a couple of days, again, Pastor Mike communicated back to us saying, like, unfortunately, the Open Sound health department contacted him and mentioning that there are some issues with the water. We don't know what, we don't know the details, but that it's not allowed to do events inside the chapel. So to us personally, it's like, okay, so then chapel needs to be closed to the public completely, but we don't know and we don't want to deal with it. So answer was no. And we started looking for other opportunities in Tobermory because our brand name is Tobermory All Seasons Market. We want to continue doing it all seasons as events. By looking to all other options, we also contacted the municipality and we started conversation with the building department and with Mark Coleman, who suggested us to send an email. We sent the email officially. I think it came to the meeting. This discussion happened, and Mark proposed us to present it to the council. This case for you to approve us to use one of the municipality facilities. We know that a marketplace, Chambers Marketplace, been using last year the place next to the court, next to the tennis court. Maybe to use that facility, or another option is to use the meeting place for indoor during the winter time for fall and early spring, and then during the summertime to use the pavilion which been built next to the meeting place. So these two options, I think, kind of reasonable, which is in our proposal. Overall, what I would like to say is that May 17 event, unfortunately, we cancel on a very short notice to the public and to the vendors. We printed all the posters in Tobermory Press. We usually distributing it, our volunteers distributing it in Tobermory, in Ferndale, in Lionshead, in Wyerton, and Owen Sound. Unfortunately, it was very close to the event cancellation, but here we are, right? We did significant work since October last year. It's not easy events, as you know. Every event required significant work and organization, as well as the volunteers who will dedicate their time. And as you know, people are busy. They're struggling to putting the bread and butter on the table, and it's hard really to find the volunteers in Tobermory to participate. But we still successfully manage these five events. We really hope that it will help us in future. Overall, we put maybe if you go to the next slide, we did lots of work. We engaging the fundraisers as well. So we've been talking to the Tobermory Meeting Place, participated a couple of times in our events. Men's Shed participated only once, but the expectation is that they will be coming to our future events as well. Tobermory Quilters, this group actually doing their work and making the beautiful quilts, which you may see at the museum every summer. They're presenting and they doing the exhibition. So they have a small quilts and some other knitted and crocheted items. We've been helping them. They actually didn't participate on our events, but our volunteers been setting up the table for them and presenting them and selling, and those monies being going towards different programs, outreach programs, my understanding, which is organized by the chapel. So money is back to community, and we're trying to help with this event. Yes, we have a brand name which called Market, and maybe some people has in their mind different perspective about the market, but we want really to have experience for the people who are coming to the market, not just simple shopping. To come to browse, and these days, right? So to come to browse and then think about it that, no, it's better for me to spend the money and do something else for my family rather than, and in some cases, markets are really expensive, right? Put it this way. So it depends on the niche. And as well as we found that some of the markets already we have here in North Bruce Peninsula, everything is great. We're not saying, right, everything is great, but visitors and local community looking for experience, looking for some fun, right? So maybe to put the table for kids to sit and draw the picture or learn, or somebody can teach them something. We have also, we have one member of the community who is over 80 years old. And the way how we are advertising him on a digital platform is come and you share your experience. We are not charging anything for the table. It's free for this person. He just coming and sharing his experience with others for others to learn that unique woodwork, which is, maybe disappearing, right? And it's unique to the North Bruce Peninsula. And we want to keep that ideas. We're supporting young generation as well. We've been communicating with the schools, and we had one person who participated so far at our event, and she's been doing some very beautiful, necklaces and earrings. Girl just started doing something, and it's very encouraging for her and helping her to develop her skills in future, and also to know how to behave on the market and learn that sale skills as well. So it's more learning, educational, and all of it. So if you can move to the next slide. So here is a list of some of the vendors, their current and future. Some of them are permanent, some of them occasional, as Councillor Loris just mentioned about it. But this is just a short sum of them. It's a short list of just a summary of what people will be bringing or what vendors will be bringing. We are very strict in the rules. So far, we are not allowing to bring any food, any food which is not based on regulation. We maybe have just a couple of people, vendors who are baking, and they are licensed by the health unit, by the George from the health unit, who've been coming and checking and providing the licenses to them. So we created the contract, we created application form. There are no people who will be coming to the market and bringing the products without signed contract, without the agreement what they're actually bringing and what they will be presenting, to make sure that it's not causing any danger to the public. As well as we already discussed with the health union, they provided us their application in terms of like what we need to submit as organizers of the event. So that is in the plan. As soon as we will find the venue, if we are continuously going with these events, hopefully, then we can present them that package of who are our vendors, so they can come randomly and do the check at our events as well. So if we can move to the next slide. So these are some of the objectives and benefits. As you can see, what we highlighted here. Again, it's a more about assisting the local community members. It's about encouraging the visitors and entrepreneurs. It's about the supporting individuals. It's about the people who currently, as you know, move to the digital platform. And they're sitting in a digital platform quietly on a Facebook, at a marketplace on a Facebook, selling their products. And they are not showing it up to the community. So we want them to get out from their homes. We want to support them. So far, we have one sponsor, but we are open to work with municipality, with Parks Canada, with other groups, with other businesses, private sector, government sector, to support, to have these events more sustainable and more cost effective for the people. Because I've been speaking personally with some of the vendors. They spend the money for the rent of the tables last year at the markets. And they told me openly that is by end of the season, we didn't make any money. We've been on a negative, like their balance was negative instead of positive. It's not like they're spending time, they're spending the gas, they're coming, it's all the setup and presentation and everything. It's lots of expenses for them. We're trying, our idea is to try to make it cost effective for them to get out from their homes, to bring their products, crocheted items, baked products, anything, right? So our grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, aunties, they all been selling the products, just putting it in front of their homes. It's no longer this way. In residential areas, it's not allowed because of the certain restriction. So we understand all these rules and regulations, but then the market is changing and it goes more online. People want experience to touch products, to learn how it's made, to maybe gain some ideas and share these ideas within the community. That is more what I call it event, learning, educational, helping community to strive and helping us to build the future of this community the way how for our kids. Kids are growing here. We need to help them. And that's what it is about. So I will not, we'll go to the next one. Again, potential stakeholders and collaborators. We're looking for municipality for your support. I already had conversation with a program organizer in municipality as well. As a personal, like some of the vendors already been collaborated on municipality movies, events that myself been participating and baking and helping, right? So we're planning going forward to continue that to do with municipality. We really hope to have this venture strong and growing, as well as working with Tobermory Primary Place to raise the funds for the kids, as well as with Meeting Place. I know that Meeting Place required the funding for this year because they have some struggle for this year. So we're happy to work with them as well and support everyone. With Bruce Trail recently as well, we've been talking about it. They have an event in September, which we hope we will be able to support and have some maybe integrated events, or maybe some vendors can provide some donations to them as well as the Cheemaun Festival. I think I talked already with Aman, so we're trying to get into these activities, and hopefully we'll be able to work together. So that's what it is. We're trying to reach out every local organization, but it's all time consuming for us to reach them out and making sure that we start this discussion, collaboration, and ideas generation to move forward with it. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. Fall and winter, we would like to keep it monthly. And again, if it is a monthly event, we would like that small groups and organizations and fundraisers to come together to have it one consolidated monthly event. So that will help everyone, every family, every age, group age of people to come and find something interesting at this event, right? It's not just a shopping experience, but have a broader experience, broader vision for everybody. And I think that will help a lot because we have lots of little things happening, but I think it's time to start to consolidate that. And that's what our objective is. Summertime, we hope we will continue doing twice a month with hope to go weekly. That's what our vision, but it all depends on the participation and the volume activities and people, vendors who would like to come. In the next slide. So we set it up the Facebook, we set it up Instagram. We already did a published article in a press. We're doing our posters for every event. We're distributing it to every business, every organization, and trying to market as much as possible so it brings more revenue to the North Bruce Peninsula and keep it here. In the next slide, please. So conclusion, our conclusion is, after a long speech, is we are asking for simple things. We are asking for municipality to provide us a green light, provide us approval for us to continue with our events at one of your locations. It's for your discretion to decide which location. It's for your discretion to decide when, but we're proposing to have it Saturdays. Second option is to do Friday afternoon, but we didn't explore that options with our vendors if it will be feasible for them and good for them to use. So we really hope for Saturday because I think it's the best day to bring community together as well as people, vendors available to come and to participate on these events. So timing as well provided. So that's all. I'm just opening for everyone to kind of let us know if there are any questions or anything you would like to ask. Thank you so much.
And I was just wondering, so the support you're requesting from the municipality is your conclusion here, or is there more?
Yes, just approval for now, and approval for now for us to proceed and use a location which is outdoor pavilion at where is the Diamond Ball, close to the tennis court. So that location, I think, been proposed by Mark Coleman. We proposed two options: or Meeting Place or that location. So maybe off season we can use community center, and during the season, like right now, weather permitted, to use that outdoor event location, or to use a Meeting Place. So that is the two options which we kind of assessed. But if you have any other options, ideas, we're happy to hear from you.
No, your contact has been Mark Coleman.
Mark Coleman, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think from a council perspective, we always try to work with our community groups, and especially when your funds are going back into the community and helping the vendors as well.
Yes.
That's great as well. Any questions from council? So I think what we'll do is we typically like to hear from our staff just to see what they have to provide for information for us. But I think, as I said, from a council perspective, we'll certainly try and work with you to get this thing off the ground and successful.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your support and your positive feedback, and we're all looking forward to work with you, really, truly. So if required any meetings, any discussions or anything, feel free to contact me. And I'm happy to be there at any time for us to discuss and find out how we can move forward and do anything together and help each other. We're one community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an easy task you have.
It's not an easy task. That's why we started slow, and we knew that it will be 6 months for us by the time when we will realize and all the lessons learned and little things to collect. You know, it's not easy. It's considered that we did significant work. And we're still doing it. The way how we work is like we're not waiting we're not providing any surveys to our vendors. We're not asking, we're simply just talking to each other in 5 seconds and react right away. So we're doing it in a very fast approach. Economy is changing, situation is changing, and we need to be very dynamic in what we're doing internally to make sure that we always keep it up to speed and always staying on top of everything what we're delivering.
Sounds like it's going to be successful.
It sounds to be very successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will go to agenda item A, and that's 6 on our agenda, 6A. And as I said earlier, I have declared a conflict on this, so I will hand it over to Councillor Todd Dowd, and I'll just.
Okay, agenda item 6A, Crane Lake Road proposed gate options. Do we have somebody to bring this forward? Come on. Second by Lori. Troy, I think maybe it might be easier if you want to come forward and
Certainly not me.
give us your report, please, and thank you.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Dowd. So this report, there's some background information here for council regarding what staff has looked at and some mitigation measures that we've had options that council may wish to consider. As you can see in the report, that there is kind of split decisions or what is really wanted. So there is some residents past the gate that are proposing the road closure, and then some that are actually against it. So we kind of looked at all the different options and give council some certain options to look at if you wish to choose one of those, or maybe there's certain parts of each option that you may wish to consider.
Curious, Troy, have the residents along the road like seen these options and said anything further, or was it just about the gate in general?
So sorry, can you just
like these 5 options that we're looking at today?
Yes.
Have the residents like commented on these options, or it was just the gate?
No, so what was happening after Mr. Wardrobe approached council last year in May regarding restricting the access, and he also had a delegation explaining all the issues that he has had with the concerns past the road. Staff sent out letters to the surrounding property owners in the area and past where the proposed gate was. I did personally go out and meet Mr. Wardrobe and Mr. Tackerberry regarding, some proposed locations, and where they were suggesting seemed to totally make sense of where, if there was a gate placed, installed, it would make sense of where to put it. In our road tour, if you'd noticed the council special council meeting, it's right before the hazardous area of the real wet area where the water constantly overtops the road. And as you'll note in here, our fire department fire chief did state that, that he has had incidents where people have, been stuck in the water on the road or went off the road due to the overtopping roads.
Right, so
Well, I guess what I did was do it by just to look at some of these options that first of all, I think as far as number 4, delay a decision, I think we've delayed long enough, and so I would take number 4 and get rid of that. And then also on number 2, for us to put a lot of money into that road, it doesn't solve our landowners' problem. It's going to increase some of the problems that they have, and we're just going to have more traffic there all the time. So we're encouraging what we're trying to stop, if you ask me, in regard to landowner issues. So I'd wipe out number 2. So then on number 5, that just put the gate up, but only close it when the water's over the gate. Well, who determines that and who looks after that? And I just think it logistically, it doesn't work. It's okay. And and that road is just going to get worse by the looks of things. If we're not putting money into it, the gate would just be closed longer and longer. So in my mind, I'd just take out 5 too. So that leaves me down with number 1, which is what I thought we were looking at, put the gate up, restricted access to landowners. To me personally, if I was a landowner there, I don't know why I would object to a keyed entry where I could get in whenever I wanted to, as long as it's reasonable. And the landowners there, apparently that do have private lands there, are fully, willing to work with emergency services, the parks, whoever that needs to get in there. At this point, they are anyway. That option makes sense to me. The issues with rerouting the Bruce Trail, that could be something that was looked at. If that doesn't seem to work with we still are seeing a lot of problems, and people are still using private lands indiscriminately, or other issues, then that's a look down the road that could be looked at. For right now, my opinion is that our first option is okay, now I lost my options. Option number 1. And a look to monitoring it, seeing what happens, and maybe it's somewhere down the road we do have to take a look. If it doesn't solve a lot of the problems, we may have to look at option number 3, but that's something we would have to do with other agencies in Bruce Trail. And I have been told there's very reasonable alternate routes, we certainly wouldn't want to get in a situation where we really impacted the Bruce Trail. At least that would be my opinion. But I've been told there are alternate routes that aren't, too hard to manage. So anyway, that's all I got. Option number 1, and down the road, perhaps option number 3, if we can't make option number 1 work well.
Could you read option number 1 to us, please?
Is that acceptable? Option number 1, partial closure with restricted access would be a compromise between full closure and unrestricted access. This option involves installing a gate with key or code access for private landowners, emergency services, and municipal staff. Vehicle access would be available for authorized users. Additionally, improved signage at entry points would clarify restrictions and reduce unnecessary traffic, preventing confusion and potential conflicts. So from that gate on, it's strictly walking. Unless you have permission, you're parked, you're emergency, you're a landowner, you're the municipality, and those agencies would be given a key code. So that's option number 1. Tori, you got more. I know you did.
Here's something you want to say, Mon, to add to that? Or do you want to answer that?
Yeah, no, certainly that's option number 1, and it would be restricted to authorized personnel only. So emergency services would still be able to, have access to it, like that they would be given the code, and that's.
One thing that I would like to add to that, though, is I understand the need for a closure because ultimately the road isn't safe, and that's one of the problems with what's happening. But the problem to go along with that, though, is if we're saying that the road isn't safe, which it isn't, and there's problems navigating the road because in a lot of instances, the road is flooded out. So then that bears the question, what does that mean for the Bruce Trail operating on this road as well? Like, I think we have to look more at that not only are vehicles using this road, but people are as well. So if it is flooded, what is the legal responsibilities for us saying that the Bruce Trail is operating on our road? We're closing the road because we know it's flooded and not navigable for vehicles. What are we saying about people? And then does that mean that we're going to drive people to walk around the road on private property, which wouldn't be good as well? So that is a question I have. One of many, but that's one.
To answer your question about legalities and road closures, if a road is closed and the municipality determines that it is closed, essentially pedestrian traffic, vehicular traffic, bike traffic cannot go across that boundary. So I think we have to use the word closed a little bit differently here. Similar to if we were to close the road legally in a municipal way, it would mean that nobody would be able to cross over that path. So what we did, for instance, Cabot Head Road, it was deemed a temporary closure. And so at that point, we have a barrier there where people are allowed to access it, property owners. So MNO, DFO, the biosphere are allowed to actually attend their properties with us knowing. However, if any accident happens legally, those people could, if you have went past without permission, legally you could be charged.
So ultimately, we really can't do one alone. We have to really do 1 and 3 together, do we not?
That would have to be in talks with the Bruce Trail Conservancy, and like Peggy Arceo says like, we're not classifying it as a full road closure, it's more of a restricted access.
Yeah, but I still don't understand where the hikers are gonna go. Like, it's hand in hand, if it's flooded out. I was looking on the Bruce Trail maps today, like that's the trail. There's parking on the maps at the end, everybody thinks they can drive to the parking. If we say that we're closing the road, where are the hikers gonna go? If it's flooded out. Like ultimately as well, we almost have to have another option with this as well. To truly fix the problem, we need to work with the parks to control the beavers, which are flooding out the road to begin with. Like that's almost like another option, another part of this to fix it once and for all. Because we can do whatever we want to this road. If the beaver dams are going to stay the way they are and flood the road out, we're always going to have this problem as well, right?
Yes, that's correct. And that's one of the issues with keep repairing the road. It just, if the beavers aren't controlled, the water doesn't control over the road, that it just keeps washing the road out.
And some of our issues aren't just the condition of the road and safety issues. Some of our issues are landowners, private landowners that feel that traffic and it isn't encroaching on their I guess it's just encroaching on their property and on them. So it's, we could go in tomorrow, fix the road, beavers are gone. It doesn't take care of that problem. So, and people getting up in there. And so, yeah, and I am assuming we've already talked. I can almost tell you the park is not going to kill beavers. I don't know if they've changed their tune lately, but I guess it's worth asking.
Well, they might consider it if we tell them that we're closing the road for safety concerns and people can't access the parking at the end of it. That could change things as well. And then the other issue we have as well, to go along with this, is what's happening with, like, is it true that people are removing no parking signs? Is that happening, Troy? Like,
I haven't heard that from bylaw, but I haven't actually asked bylaw about that. So that could be, that could very well be. I'm not aware of that, but that would have those complaints would have went directly to bylaws.
wow, yeah. Okay. So in essence, we know we have a problem with safety. We know we have to, until the road is fixed, we have to somehow close the road because it's not safely navigable. We have to increase signage because otherwise we're going to have people driving down to the road being closed and then having difficulty turning around. Is this all something that we can decide on today? Do we need to defer just 2 weeks? Do we have to make this open to but do we have to get feedback from Parks Canada and Bruce? I know Bruce Trail they're not landowners, but how do we get feedback to be able to make all these decisions? Because I think 1 and 3 need to work together.
So as recommendation states, this is for council to receive and provide direction. That direction does not have to be what is inclusive within the report. It could be further that council requests further public communication, council requests other alternatives, council requests us to email this report to the property owners and have a 30-day window for return of comment. I think this report was basically our direction for implementation. Decisions do not have to be made today.
The only trouble with that is we almost know where everybody's going to stand.
The landowners have been surveyed. We know Bruce Trail is gonna probably fight it tooth and nail, you know, in a lot of ways. I think it's up to us to work towards what you're talking about is like just totally, you know, find another alternate route so there isn't those issues. So, but as far as taking it out for more public consultation, I mean, we've talked, we know where the landowners stand, we know where we've had letters where the Bruce Trail stand. I don't know what else we would get, honestly. So Amon's got his hand up.
Just a couple quick questions from me. Just one out of curiosity, in terms of maintaining and improving the road, what all would that entail? Like, are there drainage issues to fix? Is there certainly an extensive project?
Certainly the biggest issue is the water over the road, and it's the first 300 meters of the road. Then there's the next section of the road that is what we classify as trespass road. You just have the municipality maintains the wheel tracks, and then outside the wheel tracks is private property. Then the road does go back onto a municipal right of way. However, the road is a narrow road. It's a 1-track lane. So if that answers your question, but there would have to be major work done to, along with collaboration with property owners to lower the water level to make it passable.
And a big part of the problem is the beaver dam causing the flooding.
Yes.
So I do think, like, regardless, we probably should reach out to Parks Canada, because I mean, regardless of whether we put a gate or not, we do still have to make this road safe for everyone to use, right? So we should address this flooding issue. We should reach out to Parks Canada regarding that beaver dam.
It doesn't hurt to try to stop the beaver from flooding for whatever reason, I suppose. But is the municipality going to put a lot of money into this road? And then we're still got the landowner, because if you improve the road, more people, landowner issues.
Right, but I'm saying, irrespective of all that, if this road is constantly flooding, do we not have to address that issue, even for just those landowners?
Right, for safety reasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at minimum, I think we should do that. And then I would agree with you, Todd, but delaying it for a couple of weeks. I'm personally in no rush to propagate on the road. I think it does set a precedent. So I do think we should think about this. And we've seen what happened last time we closed off road, Cabot Road, and it's remained closed. Still not in great condition. You know, it's kind of fallen to the wayside. So I think we probably should have a rough idea which one of these options we like. And then, sorry, my other question was, Troy, the responses and feedback. At the end, it said there was no general consensus. Is this the responses and feedback from property owners or in general from the public?
Yes, certainly. So I believe that we sent out 9 letters to property owners, some of which are private, some of which are government owned, and it was pretty much split down the middle. And some of the private property owners were against a gate, but however, most of them were for. So it was pretty much split down the middle of what full gate or against.
Okay, so there was no general consensus about a gate. Okay. So another reason why I think I shouldn't rush to throw a gate if it's still a split issue amongst the property owners.
What, Troy, is the current state of the road? Is it flooded out? Is it?
Yes.
Well, we put this off. This is, to me, a totally different issue than Cabot Head. And it's up to us we can fix Cabot Head, and there's some pluses there to doing that. This is a situation where there's a long history and it's not getting any better. And we have at least some frustrated landowners. And yeah, I just think we should move on something. If we put the gate up, it's not like it's not a forever gate, and it gives us opportunity to see how that works and other properties. But that is my opinion, and I would move that we go, and if we don't make that decision, then we can make another one. But I personally would make a motion that we close the gate as per option number 1, with a view of looking at and keeping a close eye on the situation, and look to option number 3, which will require more time than we have this spring. That's, and if I don't have a seconder, that's fine, but I'll put that forward, Peggy.
So, Peggy, what was the option you had mentioned regarding the 30-day reaching out to landowners and 30-day period to receive responses?
Yeah, so the other option was that, as part of the direction, was potentially council could direct staff to send the report to the property owners, the line that we have, and request a 30-day feedback or comment period on the report itself.
Does that have to be 30 days?
I was going to ask, can it be 2 weeks?
It can be totally up to what council decides on. This is not considered a legislative public comment period. So it can be whatever length you would like.
But the other question is, in the meantime, do we temporarily close the road? Because it's not safe?
I guess, yes, hazardous, yeah, that we should do temporarily close out.
What's your opinion, Troy?
We could certainly put up a barricade with warning signs that the road is flooded. I think improved signage is probably required anyways. It doesn't matter really what any of these options. So
great. That's a given no matter what we do.
Yeah.
It has to be a pretty good closure because you know what's going to happen.
That's the problem. If there's not a permanent structure, people will drive around it or move the barricades. We have seen that.
And somebody will be out with a tractor again.
So do you have any idea costing for a permanent gate, Troy?
I would say one could be installed for with the workaround and stuff for under $5,000. Like that's not including probably depending if we're going to put a parking area someplace else or something like that. But I would believe it could be done fairly cheaply.
Because that is the issue too, is okay, you have that gate, you have to have some mitigated area for a bit of off-road parking and a turnaround spot there, although it does look like the way that those roads come together, it's not it's not impossible by any means.
Yeah, and you'd have to look at parking, whether you'd even want parking right at the gate. You probably wouldn't, because you'd probably want that left as a widening for a turnaround area.
Yeah, these are hikers.
Yeah.
And also that gate would have to be wide enough to not hinder future, like ultimately we still have to have a road, especially for for safety, for emergency vehicles to respond, well, and for the private landowners as well.
Yes, correct.
Want to add one? I know. Unfortunately, it's just the three of us making this decision. I guess deferring it is only going to add. Will Rod be back in 2 weeks? Do we wait 2 weeks and not 2 weeks only to get feedback from Parks Canada?
That would be Parks Canada has actually already provided their feedback in one of the letters.
And what was their feedback regarding the gate?
A lot of the items that I pointed out in the report were brought up by them and among the other private owners. So I just kind of highlighted the key points of each of the letter. We could reach out and the people that provided the letters, if we can include it in a council package, an open council, so everybody could read their feedbacks. I just kind of highlighted the letters, the points, key points.
Have you asked about the beaver?
We've been in talks before,
And
they're aware of the problem, and they did say that they're willing to work with the municipality. So, yeah, we've even before this come out about we've had talks with Parks Canada about not just in this area but other areas too that we do have beaver concerns.
did they say how they would work with that? Like, did they give you any indication that they were willing to relocate, or I
was never told the measures that they were going to take, but it was just an agreement that they said they would work with the municipalities.
So can we, for now, maybe temporarily close the road while it's flooded, circulate the report to the property owners for the 2-week feedback, and then decide on the permanent solution afterwards? Because I mean, putting a gate on property owners' road is a pretty big deal. I agree they should have the option to review these options and provide their feedback on these. So I would say temporarily close it for now while it's flooded, circulate this to the property owners, get their feedback, and then do the 14-day calling period and then see where we go from there. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, would you then, Troy, be able to provide us with a report on what else needs to be done that we could vote on in 2 weeks too? Like as far as parking and...
So honestly, I think 2 weeks is pretty ambitious to get letters out to everybody, get feedback, and get a report back to council before the next council meeting. It would probably be, we put these letters out in the summertime, and I think our last letter came in January last year. So
we have we have 9 landowners. Some of these people may go up there fairly regularly, some may not. So you're kind of basing a decision on 9 people, very important people. But there are other people around that area that... Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that.
But maybe we could, and it does take time if council does decide to go with the proposed gate option. It does take time to get that made and installed in the signage. But we could, maybe one of the options right now is to work towards getting something there that we could temporarily close the road until a decision could be made. But
that was my question too. Anything like that could be used as like a temporary gate structure or something. I can move in there, put there for now, and
certainly look into it.
Because ultimately, I guess that would have to go in place anyway till a permanent gate was put in place. The problem is now here we are, we're the 26th of May. Even 2 weeks is the 9th of June. As far as everybody else knows, like anybody hiking the Bruce Trail, they'll have no idea. Like the biggest thing would be getting word out as well that the road is closed. Ultimately, it should be closed for safety reasons anyway, but I think we still have to work on option number 3 with 1, because I think the 2 go hand in hand. Because I'm not sure where the hikers are going to go. I'm not sure where the hikers even go now if it's flooded out. Like, is there a wide berth that they walk around to go around the flooded area? I'm not sure.
I had just hiked it on the weekend and we just walked right through.
How deep was the water?
Yeah, there's always water there. It was just over ankle deep. Yeah, we just walked. Yeah, I did it yesterday. It was awesome.
Doesn't just change overnight.
And when it rains, it's just cold water when we're walking through. But it's the drivers.
So ultimately, if we,
The beaver dams have been there since my great grandfather. They've never changed. We used to trap them. They just keep coming back. You'll never stop them. Crane Lake is prime beaver country. It's just a safety hazard. Someone's gonna get hurt, someone's gonna go off that road, and someone's gonna drown, and I won't be responsible for that part. I've had people collapse on my front lawn due to the way that road has been.
what do we want to vote on today? Do we want,
There is a motion on the floor that I made, but I don't have a seconder, so.
I think at a minimum today, we need to vote on putting up a temporary road closure sign. We can defer the final decision for 2 weeks. But that's probably not going to give us enough time for more information to be able to fully decide on everything.
Like we could send the reports out to the owners, to the same respondents that we had in the previous letter. You might have something to add to that. Hey.
Yeah, if council would wish, we could do this within the 4-week period. Currently, today, we can put a barricade on the road. So do a social media post like we usually do, with some signage. If you provide 4 weeks, that gives us enough time to monitor the situation and see if it will be effective. Those types of those options, then it gives definitely enough time for Public Works to get the letters out. But right now you've done this temporary potential for a mitigation of the area. With a 1-month monitoring situation, which is really a combination of 1 and 3. So we could call this a temporary measure right now to see if it's going to be successful. It might be that we find that it's not successful and we have to come back to the drawing board.
And do we get word out that we want to work on option 3, start working on option 3?
Mm-hmm. Yes. If should council provide us that direction, yes.
Smokey, do you want to modify your motion?
Actually, no, because I felt strongly about my motion, but I would, if someone wanted to put forward the next one, I could see myself supporting it. If I don't get a seconder on my motion, which I don't, then I will withdraw it. And I could see myself supporting the short term mitigation with a view to.
I'll just leave it there because I still think we need something permanent.
Right.
And to go ahead.
So I put forth the motion that we temporarily close the roads, temporarily put a barricade up there. While we do a 4-week calling period to hear back from landowners about these 5 options, and as well, begin option 3, reach out to those various stakeholders to find a happy alternative instead of using this road.
The problem I have with that is we're putting all these options out. Personally, sitting here and I'm only one person.
So we.
I can't say I would support option number 5 or 4 or 2. I think we could send all 5 options out and say that council has made a preliminary look at it and we are looking at option number 1 and possibly in concert with option number 3. But I think we should if we start the whole thing over again and give everybody the full options, and because, okay, we got some important people, but I'm here to represent ratepayers. And my feeling in the ratepayers that and so I just wouldn't, I certainly wouldn't, 4 and 5 just are totally off, and number 2, I don't agree with either. So that would be my vote on. So we sent out all the options to 9 people.
Yeah, fair enough. Sure. Just then we can cut it down, cut out 4. We can cut out 2. You can say just 1 and 5 of them. Because I mean, the last 9 reports says from responses, there is some general consensus among the property owners. So I think they should have an opportunity to see these options and provide us the feedback. I can't confidently say that they're 100% ready.
So what if all of the or a lot of the majority of landowners say, I want the municipality to bring this road right up to whatever, because so I have.
So that's not an option, right? We said 1 and 5. That's what we're going to cut it down to. We decided to cut down
1 and 3 is the original.
or 1, 3, and 5, 1 and 3, whatever, or Todd, whichever ones you might cut it down to 1 and 3.
Do we have to look at real track access by making a permanent closure? Do we lose that? I guess we're kind of arguing semantics. I guess if we looked at 1 and 3 and maybe down the road, it gives us the ability to not have it restricted at all the time, but we'll have more information to know whether or not that would work. So I would say 1 and 3.
Sure.
Are you fine with that, Smithy?
Yes.
I'm fine. And whatever you want to cut it to.
Have a vote? Oh, so we're looking at, do we want to read that?
Yes, no problem. I have that council directs staff to proceed with circulating the staff report to property owners and the Bruce Trail Conservancy for comments on option 1 and 3 for a period of 4 weeks, temporarily close the road by way of barricade and provide an updated report to council for further consideration.
All in favor?
Sounds good.
Yep. Okay. Motion carried. Thanks, Troy. I don't know if you're further ahead, but.
All right, and we will continue on. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that.
Yep.
So next on the agenda, put my glasses on here, that'll help, is item B, it's Public Works Manager, and it's regarding the Ira Lake Road, Cherry Hill Road, and bridge replacements. And there's also the Heron Point Bridge, which is over in Stokes Bay. So there is a recommendation here that council receives the report entitled Ira Lake Road, Cherry Hill Road, and Bridge Replacements. And the council approves proceeding with Northern Mat, quote, for Ira Lake at 129,000 and change. And also the Cherry Hill one at 218,000 and change. And to further investigate options to rehabilitate the Heron Point Bridge. So mover and seconder to bring that forward. Smokey, come on. And Troy, you want to give us a little update on this?
Yeah, certainly. So, as it was stated in the report there, I just wanted to elaborate on this quote here is just for the purchase of the bridge and to start proceeding with the approvals and engineering. And on top of those numbers then would still be the construction end of it, which would be the installation, the demolition of the old structures and abutments and guardrails, etc. Which in the body of the report, there is estimates ranges for that depending on the conditions for the total cost. With the Heron Point bridge, we're suggesting looking further in doing further investigations into what it would cost to rehabilitate and repair the current structure to prolong the lifespan and increase the load weighting restrictions on that bridge.
All right. Any questions on that report? As Troy said, there are additional costs to the two bridges, and the Heron Point Bridge, of course, is the one that where we have people living on the other side, and it causes a bit of an issue if we go to close it and do a full construction of a bridge. So I think it's a good idea to look at the rehabilitation of this one here to see if we can come up with something. Any further questions on that? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Item C, Public Works again, and it's the monitoring reports for the waste disposal sites, and that is all three sites. Mover and seconder bring that Todd and come on. Any questions on the report? Come on.
Just a quick one. Just for the Lindsay site, have we might mention it before, but have we started planning for replacement or diversion strategies for once it does reach capacity? That's 1 to 9 years, right?
Yeah, certainly. There's about 1.5 to 2 years left on the St. Edmunds. We've already looked at, we're looking at modifying our ECA to still keep that as a transfer station. But when we went through the expansion process for the Eastern landfill, it was looked at that Eastern would be the primary landfill or waste disposal site, in the future. So as St. Edmunds and Lindsay closes, they would be then that waste, those would then become, those two sites would then become transfer stations, and the waste would all be directed to the Eastern site. So when we went through the expansion process, we looked at all three sites to see which was the best candidate, and Eastern site was the prime candidate to get an expansion. So the other two will be closed, and then as their life expectancy or as their airspace is depleted, and then they will become transfer stations.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, and just to note as well, the Eastern landfill site, we're very fortunate to have substantial years left on that site. Right.
Yes, we're very fortunate and that 40 to 45 years for this phase is including the transfer of the waste eventually from the other two sites. And then there's another phase that with just a few studies, we can get easier approvals for too, which could give us a possible another 45 years.
Yeah.
On top of that
So
45.
very fortunate we have that site. And within the report, of course, there's recommendations from the consultant as well. So further questions, call the vote, all in favor? Opposed, the motion is carried. Deputy Clerk report, website accessibility audit and training with Crackle Docs Inc. And they're directing council to enter an agreement with this company for website accessibility audit services and training. Moving sections to bring it forward. Smokey, Todd. Any questions? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Next, we'll move to the treasurer's report. And it's an information report with regards to the cash in lieu of Parkland Fund that we have. We were in second for that one. Todd, Lamont. Any questions on that one? Call a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Item number F is the treasurer's report. It's the investment income report. And it's an information report as well. We were in second for that one. Smokey, Todd. Any questions?
I was just wondering where you got that 6%, because that's good work wherever we got 6% on that, because that's, I don't know who did that. That was you, Teresa, but that is a nice interest rate, and it's just too bad that I couldn't get in on that.
Probably not happening today.
When does that end? When is that 6%? Is it the end of this year that we lose that? Or?
That one just went to January of this year.
This year. What's their new rate, or do you know yet?
Well, our investment, we have it back in the bank, but we're getting prime minus 1.75.
Thank you.
All right, any questions? Further questions? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed, the motion is carried. Next is item G on the report. It's a council remuneration information report again. We're in second to bring it forward. Todd and Lamont. Any questions, comments? Call a vote. All in favor? Opposed, the motion is carried. Item number H. H is the clerk's report. Fees and charges update. So we've added some new fees to our fees and charges bylaw, and they're contained within the report. Over in second for that one. Come on, Smokey. Any questions? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the clerk's report. And it's the Simpson subdivision and rezoning application. We dealt with that a couple of weeks ago, and there were some questions. And the developer has responded with what he feels are the answers to the questions we had. So I guess, Alex, just so were we, so that's that agreement that we deferred last meeting, like the subdivision agreement, like that was deferred till more information come forward?
Yes, and this is the additional information.
Yes. So where does that leave us now?
So this report is just for information. If council wishes to make a decision today, I think that's okay too, but we wanted to give this to council to review and consider
We received it right from the developer, so, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so if, as we recall, the county was recommending approval of this subdivision and, I guess now we decide what we're going to do with it too, I guess, either today or, I guess the way I look at it, we might as well deal with it today if we feel.
Except that Rod isn't here. I think he was in opposition
Yeah,
to this
yeah.
on the last meeting for the sake of 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Could we
Want to wait till the counselor's here, that's fine. All right, so it's an information report. We'll leave it as information, until we have Rod back in the chamber with us here. And we have a movement second. No. So information. We were, Amon and Todd. Any further comments, questions regarding the report? Yeah.
I just have one question on the enforcement. Where's their answer? They're just saying the bylaw.
What page are you on, Todd?
Let me find it again. I was just looking at it.
About the enforcement of no development, is that what you're?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's on page 5.
Page 5.
Yeah, question number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, these protections will be implemented through zoning bylaw and will be enforceable through bylaw officers, and future owners will be legally bound to these restrictions. But what are the implications if somebody does develop it? Like, the damage will already be done. It's easier to ask forgiveness afterwards and permission prior. Like, what will be the repercussions?
So currently right now, let's say, I'll give the instance that somebody comes in and clear cuts so they can actually see their waterfront. Essentially what we do is we contact the property owner. We'll assume that the property is developed right now. We talk to the property owner and request that they plant trees again, mitigate the property. If, once we've attempted essentially all requirements, everything necessary in our powers, at that point, they are fined and we take them to court. And at that point, a judge will decide what the next steps are. So it becomes a property standards at that point. Just in the essence of it.
What kind of fines are we talking?
That would be a court thing. Essentially, we're hoping that they are going to replant their property.
Yeah, because that was kind of my issue too, as we're bound by this. And my issue also would be at least 1 or 2 of these become STAs. How that, you can't stop people from lighting fires in a no fire zone. And if even 1 or 2 of these become STAs, that no development, it's not even the no development, it'll be the no alteration that becomes a real big headache for our bylaw. Now, maybe everybody's jumped through all the hoops and there's just not one thing we can do about that. But if there is anything we can do about that, now's the time to put any type of restrictions that we're able to on that, whether it's I don't even have any ideas how we can do that, because for our bylaw to be responsible if a couple of these become STAs, which I doubt that they are, because there's rumors.
So your question is then,
Is there anything that we can do at this point in this process to ensure compliance with the no development, no alteration rules beyond. Like, I guess there's just nothing there. I'm just scrambling for ideas because like Todd says, once things happen there, this area will bear the brunt, and it will be done, and it will be irredeemable, really.
I guess that can happen on any lot today.
It can, but if you know that this
Yeah.
particular situation, it's a lot more obvious.
I guess the report tries to deal with it.
It does, and this is one person that owns this property right now. You're gonna have 7 owners,
Yeah.
some of whom may turn 1 or 2 or however many of these properties into STAs. I know that this is probably a fait accompli. I've resolved myself to that, but at this point, all I think we can do, we've done a lot to try to mitigate and make clear our concerns. But if there's just anything else that we could do to ensure that no development, that no alteration zoning is as close to the mark as possible, and I don't know enough about planning or the law to come up with it. I've been thinking about it and haven't come up with anything so far.
So I guess we can talk to our planning department to see if there's something that can be added to this. Or...
Yeah, well, we'll talk to our lawyer and also the planning department just to make sure that everything meshes up.
Yeah. All right. So any further questions on this one? So as we said, this is an information report today, so we'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Item number J is the Cheemaun Festival Committee. And April 15th, the minutes for the meeting of April 15th. Moving seconder Smokey, Todd. Any questions on the minutes? All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Further minutes, K on the agenda is the Cheemaun Festival Committee, May 1st. Minutes for that meeting. And they be approved to circulate, moved by Amon. Todd? Any questions on those? The committee is hard at work, getting things organized. Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. L. The agenda is the museum committee and minutes of April 1st. Moving seconder for that one. Smokey? Todd? Any questions on the museum? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. M is the licensing appeal committee, and that's STA. And that was the minutes for May 12th. It was our last meeting. Mover and seconder for those. I'm on. Todd? Any questions on those minutes? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Next, we'll go to accounts. And for April 2025, our voucher for April. Mover and seconder for that one. Todd? Smokey? Any questions on the voucher? Yes.
Oh, just a quick question, and I should have got this to Teresa, but didn't get around to it. We spent about $8,000 at the library in Lions Head. Was that, what exactly did we do there?
That was for a front entrance door replacement and the door operator for accessibility. It was the original door in the building and basically it rusted and structurally failed. So it wasn't an easy fix. It required a complete replacement.
Okay, thank you. I'm just curious.
All right. Anything else on accounts? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Other business. Anyone have other business? Smokey?
just once again, I had 2 emails again asking if we had any word on those chargers.
These are the EV chargers in Tobermory.
Yeah.
Currently, no, I do not.
So you get your mean bone out. I will. Okay, thank you, because as soon as we know, and I don't know if there's signs on there, but it's okay for signs to go up on them that they don't work. Okay, thank you.
I thought they were supposed to be.
We were informed that they'd be ready for the Victoria long weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not quite. All right, any other business? All right, we'll go to correspondence, and once again, we'll just go down the list, and if you have comments to make. Dave Wardrobe, and that's the Crane Lake Road. B. Donald Hall and Pam Hall. Once again, Crane Lake. Tom, on behalf of the Peninsula Bruce Trail Club, is C. And Crane Lake, once again. D is the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility. And this is a good news story here. Mark, do you want to give us a little update on that one, please?
Yes, so council did receive at a previous meeting letter from MPP Paul Vickers' office about the funding announcement. We have the funding agreement already in place, which is good for 5 years. So each year we receive a operational letter from the ministry actually specifying the funding. So it's a slight increase from the original press release from Paul Vickers' office. It's 55,000, not 50. So we can expect to receive somewhere in this range each of the next 5 years. We do have to apply each year, provide a report, and it just gets approved through this operational letter format from the ministry.
And Mark, just expanding on that a little bit, I guess, for the public, just so to the programs, it's for programs.
Yes, so programs in supporting seniors' active, healthy living. So whether it's fitness programs, bus tours, meals, lecture series, training and education on cell phones and computer use, a whole diversity of programs. Actually, we're going to provide a report to council in the near future of all the programs, when they're taking effect and where, so that you'll have that as information to share with residents as well. So.
Good news stories. Great. Item E on the agenda is Mike Seal on behalf of the undersigned ratepayers, and that's regarding 213 Big Tub. He's got some questions there, so I guess Peggy would direct you to respond to these questions. And
Staff will provide a letter to Mr. Sile, and we'll also CC council on it, so you're aware of that.
Yes, okay.
Correspondence.
Yep. And once again, Mike Seal is item F, and once again regarding the Big Tub. 213 Big Tub Road. And once again, you can respond and CC council on that as well. News release from Paul Vickers. If anyone has any questions on any of these, just let me know. Paul Vickers is, and it's the provincial budget, identifying some things here that that are within the budget, and I guess, do we see anything there that's of interest to us? We can have a look anyway. Let staff have a look at that, and I just, with the ones I identified here, I really don't see much there that. Item I. It is, no, sorry, maybe I better do H before I get to I guess. So it's from an individual, Nancy. And she is requesting water testing pickup in Tobermory area, and I don't know, I think we've had this request before. And we haven't been able to find anywhere to help us out with that, so.
It's actually a response to the Great Bruce Health Unit, and we forwarded on her request to them also. So they're aware of the potential. I believe we did have a Tobermory hookup before, catch up before COVID happened, and it's just never been brought forward after that. So
It used to be at the clinic, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get that going because it is quite an inconvenience to try and get down here.
Well, and especially since Tobermory doesn't have a water system, I mean, the local, the restaurants and whatnot are inspected, but probably there'd be a lot of people interested.
Yeah. Next on the agenda is Steve Levesque, and it's a follow-up on site plan approval, perspective and request for fire implementation. And Peggy, what's your thought on this one?
I think council received a letter. If you have any comments on it, we greatly appreciate that. We do know that the site plan agreement will be coming back to council. Fortunately, I didn't have full time to review and complete it for this council meeting. So the intent is to have it at the next council meeting.
Okay, so any questions on this letter here? So we'll see that at our next council meeting. And the last one on the agenda would be a resolution of the town of Orangeville. And that's regarding Bill 5, the new Bill 5 that the provincial government has put out. So Orangeville are opposing this new bill. And it's they identify here the reasons they're doing it. So if you have any interest in that to support or file or.
I personally don't feel that I have enough expertise to know, like, I mean, they're talking about process and perhaps it is a bad thing, but I as far as us here goes, I guess I would have to wait and see how it affected us here locally, if at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Although anything that takes away from a municipality's impact on growth, I don't feel good about. Because I feel municipalities are the one that know their constituents the best and as far in their area. But in this particular case, I still couldn't
actually the
go one way or the other.
The county just responded to us.
Oh, did they?
At our last meeting.
Okay, well, maybe that'll do.
If you can even bring that forward, Peggy. It was last Thursday. It was not last Thursday, it was Thursday before that, sorry. All right, so that concludes the correspondence, and Alex, how do you want to deal with this?
Just a motion, just the recommendation that's on the agenda, and just a motion that council receives for information.
And so we've identified a couple or three, two at least, where we're going to respond. And that's.
Yes, I don't believe we need a motion for that.
Thank you. All right. So the resolution is this. Okay, is information and all of them. Moved by Todd Smokey. We'll call a vote. All in favor. Opposed, the motion's carried. And then we go to bylaws. Item, bylaw 2025-34. Managed short-term rentals, and 2025-49 confirmatory bylaw. Move for a second for that. Come on. Todd. Any question on bylaws? Call a vote, all in favor. Opposed, the motion's carried. Closed session, no closed session, motion to adjourn. Smokey, come on. All in favor. Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. And just before we leave, I just recognize the community of Walker and Brockton area. That our condolences go to that community. That it was a terrible, unimaginable accident that occurred there and took the lives of 5 people. So our thoughts are with them, families, and yes.
Just, yeah, it just, you can't even,
No,
it's terrible.
terrible.
It's terrible.
Thank you, everyone.